Welcome to my video on selecting the perfect wedding cake. I have decorated wedding cakes for years and hope that you will find this video helpful. My name is Cindy and I'm meeting with Abigail, who is getting married next year. Abigail, first I want to say congratulations, you are engaged to be married to the person of your dreams. Now let's talk about your wedding cake. Thank you so much, Cindy, I am so excited. My friend recommended you. First, one of the most important things is to figure out the theme of your wedding and make sure the wedding cake matches your theme. I really want a rustic theme mixed with romance. Next, let's figure out how many people you are having and when you plan on serving the cake. Do you want to serve it as your dessert right after the meal, or do you plan on having a dessert table later on? If you are having it as your dessert, you need to make sure there is a piece of cake for every guest. If you plan on having a dessert table, then you will be having other desserts and won't need a piece for every person. If that is the case, your wedding cake can be the perfect complement to a range of delicious desserts to suit the tastes of everyone attending your wedding. Wedding cakes are often priced by the slice. So make sure you know what your budget is and when you wish to serve it. We haven't figured out our guest list or our budget yet. Once you have determined the size of your wedding and the theme, you can decide on the style of the wedding cake and how you want it to complement other elements of your wedding. Remember that it is important that your cake suits the venue. Having a tiny wedding cake in a large ballroom or a huge wedding cake in a small intimate wedding will seem out of place. The cake should complement your venue and decorations, your wedding gown, your colors, the season, and even your flowers. Remember, your wedding cake should be part of your wedding, not a spectacle. We are looking at venues this weekend, so I will keep this in mind. Next, let's determine the shape of style of your cake. Wedding cakes come in many different shapes, including round, square, heart and oval, to name a few. You can even opt for a cake that has part of the cake cut away to make a different shape. The other options include an individual cake for each guest or cupcakes. If you choose to have one wedding cake, you will need to decide if you want a tiered cake, and if so, what do you want the tiers separated by. You can choose to display the cake on a cake stand or a tray. The other option is a floating tier, where the pillars separating the cake are very short and it gives the illusion that the cake is floating. I would like something different. I like the idea of everyone having their own cake, whether it's an individual cake or a cupcake. But I also love the idea of a 3-tier cake and the floating tiers. Next, let's talk flavors. I often tell people to choose their favorite flavor, the bride choosing one flavor and the groom choosing the other. Then choose one you both like if you are having a 3-tier cake. Also, do you want a filling or do you want the cake to be plain? Consider the weather when you are deciding on a filling, as fondant should sit at room temperature so you won't want anything too perishable. If so, you may wish to opt for a buttercream wedding cake and have the cake refrigerated. Keep in mind you won't be able to display the cake for too long if this is the case. So many options, but make sure you ask to have a taste test of your cake. I love this idea. My favorite is definitely carrot cake and my fiancé loves chocolate. Now let's talk the overall look of the cake and the type of icing and decorations you want. There are 2 options for icing. Either buttercream or rolled fondant. Some people even decide to have a naked cake where there is no icing. Personally, I love the look of rolled fondant. It has buttercream underneath it, so if your guests don't like the look of it, they can peel the fondant off. Fondant is very elegant and smooth. Do you want to have icing decorations including icing flowers, or do you prefer draping of fondant with either real flowers, dried flowers, or gum paste flowers? I love the look of gum paste flowers, but they are a lot of work and can increase the price of your cake. Gum paste flowers are handcrafted, and although the recipe that is used is edible at first, they dry almost like a china flower and in fact will shatter if dropped. They are ideal for someone who is sentimental and wants to keep the flowers off their wedding cake. Oh my, so many decisions. I like the idea of buttercream on cupcakes, but if we go with individual cakes or a 3-tier cake, I would prefer fondant and gum paste flowers. Some people like the look of real flowers on their cake because they can match their bouquet, while others may prefer a more rustic feel with dried flowers. Really, it's up to you and what matches your theme and your personality. There are so many options for decorating the cake. Some people like it plain and only flowers on it. Others prefer icing decorations with more a delicate flair like Australian method. You can have the fondant draped to look like pieces of fabric draped on your cake. Alternatively, you can have edible lace, stencils or overlays. The options are endless. Also, do you want an all-white cake with your flowers white, or do you want colored flowers or even colored fondant? Also, do you want your decorations to be edible? For example, you can choose to have edible diamonds or dragées. Edible diamonds, wow, that sounds amazing. Let's talk about cake toppers and displaying your cake. The cake topper usually sits on the top tier. Some people like to have flowers while others may opt for a monogram, a bride and groom couple, or something that matches their personalities. One bride and groom I decorated a cake for opted for a rhinestone Star Wars cake topper, while another couple had a groom in a red Corvette with a bride running away with shopping bags and credit cards. The red Corvette and runaway bride, that is adorable. We will definitely have to look around for ideas. When you decide on a venue, make sure you choose a special place to display your cake. Depending on the style, a different shape of table may need to be requested. Often a round table works well, but make sure the table is sturdy and can handle the weight of the cake. You may wish to cover the table with fabric or tulle. I have seen so many lovely and unique setups for wedding cakes. One bride displayed her cupcake wedding cakes in crates, while another displayed each tier on a slab of granite. Another had real ivy around the cake and on the table. The choices are endless. I will definitely think about that. The other thing you need to consider is if you plan on keeping the top tier of your cake for your first wedding anniversary. If you do, I will explain to you how to store it to ensure the best freshness you can have. I will definitely talk to my fiancé about this. I'd also suggest having your cake decorator deliver your cake to set it up, or ask a family member or friend to pick it up for you. You will have so many things on your mind, and having someone in charge of setting your cake up and ensuring it exactly how you envisioned is so important. Do you deliver? Yes, I do. Remember that you will want to schedule a time to cut your cake and share a piece with your new husband or wife. Your guests will want to take pictures. Make sure you have your photographer take pictures of your cake and you cutting the cake. It's a wonderful memory to have. I love this tradition and will definitely incorporate it into my reception. I definitely want you to decorate my cake. Can we meet again once I have more details? Abigail, I would love to help you create your perfect wedding cake. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, please contact me.